G'day everybody, welcome to another Affinity photo tutorial. This week we're going to do a Microworld. Thanks to Anthony Thomas Fellows who left a comment on the Facebook page saying he'd like to learn how to do Microworlds, which are inspired by Benny Productions. If you haven't seen any of Benny Productions videos, I'll link his YouTube channel below. Go and check it out. So let's give a Microworld a go in Affinity Photo. So I've created this template and you'll be able to download this template absolutely free from the Buy Me a Coffee site. That will also be linked below. Go and grab that anytime that you like. So as usual, let's get started. Let's click on our white background here. And we're going to use our pen tool. So let's grab our pen tool. What we're going to do is draw a square with our pen tool all the way around this left hand side. Pen is in pen mode. So let's do that. Let's start off in this corner here and draw it all the way around this left hand side. And hooking it up so it all hooks up together. Come over here to our pen tool and come down to our node tool. Let's zoom all the way in. Then we can manipulate these little nodes to get this a little bit straighter around the box here. Just go around and manipulate each of those so we get a better selection around our box. Once we're happy, let's just make that a little bit smaller and come back to our pen tool over here and click on selection up here. That'll give us a selection on this left hand side. Making sure we're on the white box, let's go Command J. And let's call that left side. Let's come back onto our white box, Command D to get rid of those marching ants. We're back on our pen tool and we're going to do the same on this side. Grab our node tool again and zoom in so we can manipulate those a little bit better. Down onto the bottom, have a look at each one of them, see if we can make that a little bit better. Command 0, back onto our pen tool and hit selection. Again, make sure we're on the white background here and Command J. Let's call that right side. And Command D or Escape to get rid of those marching ants. So we're ready to bring over our next picture, which is going to be this one of our ocean. And I'm going to do this in sections. So I'm going to come over here to my rectangular marquee tool. And I'm just going to make a selection of the ocean in the middle here. And once I've got my selection, Command C, back to the template and Command V. Let's click on our move tool. Make this a little bit smaller. And let's put it just on this left hand side here. And while we've got that here, let's make a copy of it. Command J. And I'm going to call one right hand ocean. And the other one left hand ocean. Left hand ocean. Let's turn the right hand ocean off at the moment. We've got our left hand ocean here. And we're going to clip it to the left hand side of this shape that we made. So let's bring the left hand ocean down and clip it to this left hand side. So you can see now it's clipped inside of that box. Let's click on our perspective tool and put this into perspective. Drag it up a little bit. And click on apply. We've got our left hand ocean in place. Let's do the same to the right hand ocean. So let's click on our right hand ocean so it comes back again. Let's just move that over to the side here. We're going to bring this down and clip it to the right hand side. So let's bring that all the way down and clip it to the right hand side. Let's do the same with our perspective tool. Let's get this into perspective. So let's put it in perspective here. And click on apply. So that looks pretty good. If we turn this box off, you can see we've got a nice line going down this corner here. Let's turn the box back on. That's our template box. So now we're ready to bring in the next element, and I'm going to bring in the rocks from this picture here. Let's bring our marquee selection down and let's just cover those rocks. So let's grab those rocks. So Command C, back to our template, and Command V, and let's make those rocks a little bit smaller. We're going to do something very similar to what we did with the ocean. Let's put our rocks over this side, and then let's make a copy. Again, let's call one right hand rocks and the other one left hand rocks. Let's turn our right hand rocks off for now, just concentrate on our left hand rocks. Let's drag our left hand rocks down to our left side. So now you can see our rocks are also inside of this shape. Making sure that we're clicked on our left hand rocks now. Let's grab our perspective tool again and let's put them into perspective. We just want these ones to look like they're on the ocean floor, so we don't have to fill the whole box. Get them into perspective. That looks pretty good. Let's hit apply. The next thing we're going to do on our left hand rocks is add a mask. Clicking on the mask, we're going to make sure we've got a nice soft brush. Our color needs to be black. Grab our paintbrush tool, bring our flow down to 10%. On our brush, make our brush fairly small. Just going to make sure and paint over those rocks, fading them into the distance. So we're just blending them into the distance of our scene here. Making my brush a little bit bigger. Just go over, make those rocks look like they are in the ocean. Okay, there we go. Let's just collapse that left hand side. We're going to do the same with our right hand rock. So let's bring in our right hand rocks. Let's click on our move tool here and just drag it over. We're going to bring our right hand rocks all the way down to our right side. So let's bring those down, flip them to the right side. Then we can grab our perspective tool and bring those down into perspective. So let's just bring those down on this side and hit apply. Going to do the same again, add a mask. Already got our nice soft brush, so let's click back on our brush tool, painting in black and flow of 10%. And let's do the same. Let's fade those rocks into the background. They look like they're fading off into the distance. Just color those all the way over, making it look like those rocks are under the ocean. So we've got our rocks in place. That's looking pretty good at the moment. So we're ready to bring our next element in now, and we're going to bring in the picture of our lighthouse here. While we've got our lighthouse here, I'm going to click on my move tool because I want the lighthouse turned the other way. So I'm going to come up to arrange and flip horizontal and just flip that lighthouse around. So I'm going to copy the lighthouse with a Command C, come over to my template and Command V. Put the lighthouse all the way on the top here. Want it right on the top. Onto our move tool again, and let's just resize our lighthouse. Put it right over the top of our cube here, and let's drop the opacity so we can see all the way through. Make that a little bit bigger. We want our lighthouse sitting right on top here. There's our line of our template. I'm going to bring my lighthouse right on top. I want some of these rocks coming over this side of this line as well. So let's make that a little bit bigger and just manipulate it into place. So that looks pretty good. We've got some of those rocks coming over the side here, and we've got our lighthouse in a good position. We're going to come over to our pen tool again. We're going to make a selection all the way around the top of the template. So let's start in the corner here. go all the way around, clicking in each corner. We don't have to join the last two up because it will do that automatically once we hit selection. But we're going to manipulate the nodes again. So back to our node tool and zoom in again. And let's manipulate these nodes so we get a better selection. So nice all the way around. Once we're happy, back to our pen tool and click on selection. You can see it's put a selection all the way around the top of that box. Make that a little bit smaller and move it down a little bit. Now we're going to come over now to our selection brush tool. This is a really important part. Up on mode here, we must have clicked on add. It must have that turned on, add. I'm going to make my brush a little bit bigger, and I'm going to make the selection all the way around the rocks and around the lighthouse. And if you don't want to watch the selection process, you can skip ahead. I'll have where you can skip ahead to down the bottom, but I'm just going to go and make this selection all the way around the rocks now. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. Once you're finished your selection, it should look a little bit like this, where we've got it around the box, around the lighthouse and the rocks. We're going to bring the opacity back up now, all the way to 100%. And on that background, let's call that lighthouse. And let's add a mask to the lighthouse. And once we add a mask, you'll see that now that's just clipped that selection all the way around. Let's get rid of the marching ants, Command D, and our micro world is starting to take place. On our lighthouse layer here, while we've got it, let's add an adjustment and let's add a brightness and contrast. Let's clip that just to that lighthouse layer and let's bring up the brightness. And we can now invert that layer with the Command I. Let's grab our brush, and we've still got it at 10%. We've still got a nice soft brush, but let's change the color to white. And let's just add some light just to the rocks here and to the lighthouse. Just make that a little bit lighter as the light is coming in from this way. So add that light onto our rocks. There we go. Next thing that we are going to do on this layer, I'm going to click on the mask layer, change the colors to white again. I've still got my brush, my flow is still at 10%, and I've still got a nice soft brush. And I'm just going to brush in some of the rocks here, so they poke through under the water, make it look a little bit more interesting. Make my brush a little bit smaller and just a little bit on this side as well, just where those rocks are under the water here, just to make that look a little bit more interesting. There we go. We can actually turn our template box off now. We don't need the template box anymore. We can turn that off just here. So a few more little things to do. Let's try and get the color of the top here onto the color of the water down here. Let's come down here to our left side and click on our left side here and add a recolor. So let's come down here to recolor, flip that just to the left hand side so you can see that's gone red. Now a little trick, we're going to grab our little color picker here and pick a color, sort of a purpley color. This sort of looks a bit purpley. And just activate that color and double click it. And you'll see in the hue and saturation levels here, 223, 64, and 76. So let's change these boxes on our hue, saturation, and lightness on our recolor. So we've got 223, tab, 64, tab, and 76. And hit enter. And now we've got the same color, but it's a little bit dull. So let's just play with these sliders a little. Let's just darken this side because this side's not going to have any shadow. Just darken that a little bit more. About there looks pretty good. Let's copy that recolor with a Command J. Let's take that down to our right side. Our right side, let's click on the recolor. That's going to be a little bit lighter, so we'll make that a little bit lighter. Okay, looking pretty good. We've got those colors all matching. Few more little things that we're going to do. Let's add a new pixel layer. I'm going to add it right on top here. So new pixel layer down here. Let's grab my brush. I want a fairly hard brush for this one, say this line here. Color is going to be white. So let's get our colors back to default. Hit X on my keyboard to get white. I want a fairly small brush, and I'm going to bring the hardness down to 0. The flow and opacity can stay at 100. My brush a tiny little bit bigger, and I'm just going to put a line in here, just where we made those cuts into the ocean here. Hold my shift key down all the way down. I'm going to put that line all the way around. Going to change the blend mode to overlay and drop that opacity to about 40% at this stage. It looks pretty good. So we've just got that line going around the bottom of the ocean here. Next thing we're going to do is just name that white line so we know where we are with each layer. Going to add another pixel layer on top. And this time I want it to be a black line. Still got our brush, still got our flow at 100%. Nice small brush again. Let's make sure our brush this time, nice soft brush. Still in black. Make our brush really small. Bring our flow up a little bit, maybe to 50%, 49, 50%. Let's zoom in for this one. Just going to put a shadow line all the way down the bottom. So let's click right in the corner, holding my shift key down. Let's click that line and all the way down the other end here, hold shift and click. Go Command 0, get back to normal size, and let's drop that to 50% straight away. So we've got our shadow line there. So let's call that one shadow line. Another pixel layer all the way on top. This one is going to be shadow. So let's grab our brush again. This time I'm going to drop my flow all the way down to 10%. On it very light, 10% on black. We've still got our nice soft brush. We'll make our brush a lot bigger, and I'm just going to add some shadow just along the bottom here. I'm going to drop that to 50% as well, sort of very slight shadow. One more pixel layer at the top. Let's just rename this first, shadow. One more pixel layer right up the top. I'm going to come to my brushes and pick sprays and splatters. I want this one here, ink splatter tilting. I've got this ink splatter. I'll bring that all the way up a little bit bigger. Drop my flow again all the way to 10% for this one, and just add some of those splatters along the edge here. I'm going to drop that down to about 50% as well. Okay, we're getting there nice and slowly. So next thing we're going to do, going to add another pixel layer, and I want it right just above the white background here. I'm going to change my brush over basic again, a nice basic brush and a nice soft brush. Color, I'm going to click on my colors and pick a really nice sort of orangey, very light orange color. I want my flow at 10%. And I want my brush to be quite big. I'm just going to brush some of that orange just sort of lightly into the background here. And if it's too much, drop the opacity a little bit, about to 80%. Give it a little bit of color in the background. And now we can bring over our bird picture. So let's copy the birds, Command C. Bring it over to our micro world here and Command V. Click on our move tool and let's make those a little bit smaller. Going to change the blend mode on the birds to darken. And just turn them around a little bit and put them in place. About there. Couple more little things to do. Let's come up here to our text now, and where it says 01 here, just going to copy that with a Command J and bring that down the bottom. I'm going to highlight it just by double clicking, change the size to 30, and then I'm just going to write lighthouse in capitals. Just position it here onto the template. And we might do one more little thing. There's just this little area here that's sort of sticking out. Click on our lighthouse, grab our erase tool, and let's just click off that, make it look a little bit better. So there you go, everybody. That is my tutorial this week on Microworlds. Thank you to Anthony Thomas Fellows for the suggestion. Thank you for Benny Productions. Go over to his YouTube channel and check it out. You'll see some amazing Microworlds there. Don't forget to head over to the Buy Me a Coffee site if you would like to support my channel. While you're there, you can grab this template absolutely free on that site. So until next time, don't forget to subscribe, hit that notification bell so you know when I'm going to upload another video. But until then, I will say to you, stay well, stay safe, and I'll see you in the next video.